Let's talk about something many of you have mentioned in the comments. You're getting first dates, which is fantastic, but they often feel flat. You sit down, you go through the motions. Where are you from? What do you do? Any kids? And it feels more like a job interview than the start of something special. You walk away thinking, they were nice, but there was just no spark. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone, and I promise you, it's not you. It's the script we've all been taught to follow. Today, we're going to tear up that script. We'll explore exactly why so many first dates after 50 fizzle out, and most importantly, I'll share the one simple, powerful conversation starter that can completely change the dynamic, turning awkward small talk into genuine, instant connection. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into how to make your next first date your best one yet. First, let's diagnose the problem. Why do so many of these dates fail to launch? The biggest reason is that we stay in the logic zone. We ask fact-based questions. How long have you lived here? What was your career? How many grandchildren do you have? These are safe questions. They gather data. But here's the truth. Connection doesn't happen in the logic zone. Connection happens in the emotion zone. Think about it. When you truly connect with someone, a new friend, a family member, a partner, it's because you share a feeling, a laugh, a moment of understanding. You don't fall in love with a resume. You fall in love with a person's spirit, their passion, their heart. By sticking to factual questions, we're essentially interviewing for a position, not exploring a potential partnership. We learn about their life, but we don't learn about them. We get a list of their experiences, but we don't get a glimpse of their soul. This is the fundamental mistake we make. We're so afraid of being too forward, too personal, or saying the wrong thing that we play it incredibly safe. And in the world of dating, safe is often the same as boring. A date that feels like an exchange of information rarely leads to a second one, because no emotional bond was formed. There was no spark because we never gave it any fuel. Another major reason dates fall flat is what I call past tense living. When we're over 50, we have a rich and full history. We have careers we've built, children we've raised, experiences that have shaped us. It's natural to talk about these things. The problem arises when the entire conversation is a highlight reel of the past. We talk about our former jobs, our past travels, what our lives used to be like. While sharing history is important, if the conversation is dominated by it, it sends an unconscious message. My best days are behind me. Your date isn't there to meet the person you were 20 years ago. They are there to meet the vibrant, interesting person you are today, and to see if they can be a part of your future. If all you talk about is the past, it's hard for them to envision a future with you. It can feel like you're reading chapters from a book that's already finished, instead of inviting them to help you write the next one. A successful date is a forward-looking event. It's about discovering shared possibilities, not just cataloging separate histories. The energy should be about what's next, what excites you now, and what adventures might lie ahead, both for you as an individual and potentially together. So, we've identified the traps, staying logical and living in the past. Now for the solution. How do we break out of this pattern and create that elusive spark? It comes down to one simple, yet profound shift in the way you ask questions. Instead of asking what, ask why. Or, more specifically, ask about the feeling, the passion, the why behind the what. This is the key that unlocks the door to the emotion zone. It takes a conversation from surface level to soulful in an instant. This brings us to the one conversation starter I promised you, the one that builds instant connection. It's a simple, open-ended question that you can adapt to almost any situation. The question is, what are you passionate about right now? Or a similar variation, what's something that's really lighting you up these days? Notice the magic in these words. Passionate, lighting you up. These are words of energy, of emotion, of the present moment. You're not asking about their job or their history. You're asking what makes their eyes sparkle. You're giving them permission to talk about what truly matters to them right now. Let's break down why this question is so powerful. First, it's forward-looking and present-focused. It immediately breaks the cycle of past-tense living. You're asking about their current energy, not their old accomplishments. This signals that you see them as a dynamic person who is still growing, learning, and getting excited about life. Second, it bypasses the logical brain and goes straight for the heart. When someone talks about their passion, whether it's gardening, learning to play the guitar, volunteering at an animal shelter, or planning a trip to Italy, their whole demeanor changes. Their voice gets more animated, they lean in, they smile more. You're not just hearing about an activity, you're witnessing their joy. You get to see the real person, unfiltered and enthusiastic. And that is incredibly attractive. Third, it's an invitation for them to be vulnerable in a safe way. They are sharing a piece of their inner world with you. When they share their passion and you listen with genuine interest, you're building a bridge of trust and intimacy. You're saying, I see you, and I want to know what makes you tick. This is the very definition of connection. It's a shared emotional experience. Let's walk through a scenario. You're on the date. You've covered the basics. You ask, so, tell me, what are you passionate about right now? What's something that's really lighting you up? They might be a little surprised at first, because it's not the usual question. But then they think for a moment. Maybe they say, well, it's a bit nerdy, but I've gotten really into birdwatching lately. I bought a new pair of binoculars, and I've been identifying all the different species in the park. Now, you have a choice. The old way would be to say, oh, that's nice, and move on. The new way is to get curious. This is your follow-up, and it's just as important. Instead of just nodding, you lean in and ask another why or how question. Wow, that's fascinating. What is it about birdwatching that you love so much? See what we did there? We didn't just acknowledge the what, birdwatching. We dove into the why. What do you love about it? They might reply, it's the sense of discovery. It's like a treasure hunt, and it makes me feel so connected to nature and the present moment. It's my form of meditation. Boom. In that moment, you haven't just learned that they like birds. You've learned that they value discovery, nature, mindfulness, and the present moment. You've just gotten a huge insight into their core values and what brings them peace and joy. Now you have something real to connect with. You can share something that gives you a similar feeling, and suddenly, you're not two strangers making small talk. You're two people sharing what makes life meaningful. This technique works for almost any topic. Let's say they mention they like to travel. The standard question is, where have you been? The connection-building question is, what is it about travel that you love most? What kind of feeling are you chasing when you book a trip? Maybe they talk about their grandkids. The standard question is, how old are they? The connection-building question is, what's the best part about being a grandparent for you? What do you love about seeing the world through their eyes? Do you see the pattern? You are consistently guiding the conversation away from facts and figures and toward feelings, motivations, and passions. You're moving from the head to the heart. This is how you discover compatibility on a much deeper level. You find out if your whys align. Do you both value adventure, or security, or creativity, or community? Finding this out on a first date is like finding a shortcut to the very core of a person. This is how you create a spark. The spark isn't some mystical, random event. It's the tangible result of two people allowing themselves to be seen and heard on an emotional level. Now, a word of caution. This is a two-way street. When you ask this question, you have to be prepared to answer it yourself. So, before your next date, take a moment to think about it. What are you passionate about right now? What's lighting you up? It doesn't have to be a grand, world-changing passion. It could be learning to bake sourdough bread, taking an online history course, mastering a song on the piano, or planting a garden for the spring. Whatever it is, be ready to talk about it with the same enthusiasm you want to hear from them. When you share your own passion, you're leading by example. You're showing that you're an open, engaged, and enthusiastic person with a rich inner life. And remember, the goal isn't to have the same passions. The goal is to see that they have passions and to appreciate the joy it brings them. Your passion could be salsa dancing and theirs could be astrophysics. The connection comes from sharing that light, that energy, and respecting it in each other. It's about seeing that spark in their eyes and having them see it in yours. That shared glimpse of each other's true selves is what makes you want to see them again. It's what turns a simple meeting into the potential start of something wonderful. So, let's recap the strategy. First, recognize that first dates often fail because they get stuck in the logical, fact-gathering zone and dwell too much on the past. Second, make a conscious shift to guide the conversation into the emotional, present-focused zone. Third, use the master key. What are you passionate about right now? And finally, be ready to follow up with curiosity and to share your own passions in return. This isn't a trick or a line. It's a genuine attempt to get to know the person behind the profile. It's about showing that you're interested in their soul, not just their story. Dating after 50 can be one of the most rewarding experiences of your life. You know who you are, and you have the chance to meet someone else who knows who they are too. All you need are the right tools to bridge the gap between two separate lives. This one simple question is that tool. Try it on your next date. I can almost guarantee the conversation will feel different. It will feel more real, more engaging, and more alive. You'll walk away knowing not just what they do, but who they are. And that is where true connection begins. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this simple shift helps you create more meaningful connections on your dating journey. If you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips on living your best life after 50. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever tried a question like this? Or do you have a go-to conversation starter that works for you? Share it with the community. Until next time, take care and happy dating.